guys, welcome back. Today we are going to be attempting to bust a hamster myth. One of the biggest hamster myths out there is that hamsters can live happily in small cages. This is going to be the first part to a series where I look into a different assortment of hamster myths and try and attempt how much truth is there to them. Let's get into this. So pet shops like to tell us that cages like this are completely fine for our hamsters, when in reality they're really not. There really isn't enough space in there to fit exactly what they need. So I'm going to break down today why exactly these cages are not big enough for your hamsters. This is the plastic Home 2 from Pets at Home. I'll put the dimensions of it up in the corner. So let's break down why exactly this small Pets at Home cage isn't adequate for a hamster in comparison to a cage that meets the ethical minimum of 100 by 50 by 50. So first of all, there simply isn't enough space for all the items needed in the cage. Hamsters need a lot of clutter and a lot of enrichment, from a big wheel to dig boxes, a multi-chamber hide, and plenty of sprays and tunnels. This simply doesn't have the adequate space to meet that. Secondly, hamsters need a nice deep layer of bedding to burrow in. This is 6 to 8 inches of bedding. And so this cage wouldn't fit that, as well as everything the hamster needs, meaning that the hamster wouldn't be able to burrow properly. Similar to other tiny cages, this is just the one that I'm using as an example. Hamsters can also get stressed when they don't have enough space, leading to bar climbing, bar biting, which can all be dangerous for your hamster and lead to costly vet bills if your hamster is injured. And so really, are these cages adequate for keeping a living creature in for their entire life? I don't think so. So in reality, it's probably going to be many years till pet shops finally stop selling these too small cages. So this is because there isn't actually any laws really protecting these animals or setting a minimum guideline of what their cages should be, which is why it's down to us as the pet owners to educate and make sure our animals have correct care. But there is also some benefits to these small cages. I have one personally because it makes a great clean out cage for hamsters who don't like their playpens to go into while you're cleaning the cage, or also when your hamster's sick and they need monitoring better, it makes a great hospital cage also. So the solution to this issue of having too small cages around is making sure that as owners we are doing correct research into what sort of size cages our animals need. There are plenty on the market now, from creating your own like I have with my IKEA Lindmon, to a Book Estate, to some of the Paw Huts. Even the Savic Plaza that's in Pets at Home meets the ethical minimum of 100 by 50 by 50, and there are so many clever ways that you can adapt bar cages which do meet the minimum to be beneficial to your hamster, such as using grass mats, cardboard, or even perspex, as shown by this photo here sent in from Susie Bear on TikTok. Thank you again, lovely. The other things as pet owners that promote ethical care that we can be doing to help make a stop to these cages is if we see it on second-hand places, cheap or free listings of cages that are too small, getting that, breaking it up and making sure no other hamster can end up in that position again and having to spend their entire lives in cages that are too small. Sadly, because ethical care is only just up and coming and coming into light, there's so many people out there who don't know about it and don't know the correct way to house their hamsters properly. This is simply because pet shops are still giving too much misleading advice. So overall, can hamsters live in these tiny cages? Absolutely not. Even if you do everything else right, these cages simply cannot meet their basic needs in order to thrive properly. I hope you enjoyed this myth-busting episode, and there will be definitely more to come, so stay tuned and make sure you like and subscribe to see that video coming.